I don't know where you live, but the summer is so hot here that I almost feel like I'm in the desert. I just wish I had something. Not water, not ice cream. Ah, yes, a desert commander. Enter Hazezon Shaper of Sand. A 3/3 legendary human warrior that has desert walk, an ability to play desert cards from the graveyard, and most importantly, whenever a desert enters the battlefield, we get to create two 1/1 Sun Warrior creature tokens that are red, white, and green. At first glance, his abilities seem quite niche and very heavily related to the desert cards, which are, how should I say, not the strongest, but at the same time versatile enough to allow for a unique and rather interesting deck building challenge. Initially, I started to build the deck as a warrior tribal, but the Lance Matter cards were simply too good to pass up, so it slowly evolved into somewhat of an equal mix of the two. Now let us look at the different deck categories starting with creatures. Augur of Autumn is a great utility creature whose Coven ability is pretty much always active, thus allowing us to play more than 70% of our deck from the top of our library. Rather Heart of Celt allows us to play lands from the top as well, and is a solid beater to boot. Wayward Swordtooth allows us to play multiple lands per turn, and so does Mina and Den Wildborn, who have additional landfall potential. Dryad of the Elysian Grove also helps with any mana issues that we might face. Elvish Reclaimer and Knight of the Reliquary are solid creatures that also tutor for specific lands. Renegade Rallier can return a crucial artifact or a creature to the battlefield, or in the worst case a desert card. Titania, Protector of Argot, can also do the same, but her elemental creating ability is also relevant, if not more so. Landfall creatures that make tokens include Omnat Locus of Rage, Maya Bretagard Protector that doubles as an anthem, Avenger of Zendika, Skewed Swarm, and of course Rampaging Bailiffs. Morog Fury of Akum provides extra combat step and a solid pump ability for our tokens. God Eternal or Caterer creates 4/4 zombie warrior whenever we cast a creature, and Reach the Redeem can either put a 1/1 elf warrior token on double all our existing tokens. Speaking of tokens, Bramblewood Paragon puts +1/+1 counter on each warrior token that we make. Kagan War Leader gives all our warriors +1/+1. Tolsimir Wolfblood can also make tokens and give our existing ones +2/+2, and Knight of New Alara goes even beyond that by giving them +3/+3. But this is still nothing compared to Jetmir Nexus of Rebels and his potential +3 attack plus Vigilance, Trample and Double Strike. And for 3 colorless and double white, Jazal Goldmane can make our small army of tokens a deadly threat. Some more utility for our Sun Warriors comes from Samud Voice of Dissent, who provides haste for our army, and Mirror Weatherlight Duelist can make our tokens almost unblockable. However, it is the next 4 cards that have our opponents move out of the frying pan and into the fire. Sosuke, Son of Seshiro, basically gives death touch to our tokens, which makes them difficult to block, and Toski, Bearer of Secrets, is ready to draw some cards. Oran Frostfang combines those two abilities, and when accompanied by Naye of the Dire Hunt, presents an impossible choice: to block or not to block. That is the question. But the answer is always the same: we draw cards. Porphyros, God of the Forge, closes our creature section by putting a massive cloak on our opponents by making each desert we play burn for 4 damage. Hot. The instants that we play are mostly removal, with Flawless Maneuver being a free protection spell, and Realms Uncharted being a solid tutor for 4 deserts. For board wipes, I chose to put Austere Command as it can be one-sided board wipe, and Hour of Reckoning. Escape into the Wilds is a solid draw card, and provides an additional land drop the turn it is played. Farseek and Tree Visits provide solitary ramp, while Hour of Promise also tutors for our powerful lands. Speaking of tutors for lands, Stamp with Discovery offers our opponents a tempting offer which is taken surprisingly often, while Scapeshift outright finds us the lands that we want, while also stocking a graveyard with options for Hazezon to choose from. Waves of Aggression can be played multiple times in a turn, and if the discarded card is a desert, Hazezon allows us to play it from the graveyard, thus negating the slight retrace drawback. Lastly, I would like to point out at one particular card, Now here is Little Forming. In any other deck this is bad, not even junk level bad, but here it shines to the fullest. Say you play Little Forming where X is 5. You sacrifice 5 deserts and you draw 5 cards. Then replay 5 deserts from the graveyard with Hazezon and get 10 1/1 tokens. Not bad. Not bad at all. Our small artifact section consists of the following. Expedition map for tutoring, Zuranor for value by sacking and repeatedly playing desert cards, Skull Clamp as a solid card draw option, Obelisk of Earth as a +2/+2 anthem for our warriors, and lastly Coat of Arms as a massive pump for our army. The enchantment section includes Scatter's Crusade, which puts a counter on each creature we control whenever a new one enters the battlefield, only in our case, 2 +1/+1 counters whenever we play a desert, and Shared Animosity gives massive attack boost to our token army. Impact Tremors accompanies Perforos and helps keep life totals low and reachable. Exploration provides much needed extra land drops. And lastly, the Stuff of Nightmares. I would advise small children and pregnant women to look away for a minute. The most important lands, of course, are the deserts, from which we play every single one that is within Hazezon's color identity. Besides making mana and having the relevant land type, they usually also come with some form of built-in utility. Field of the Dead is a win condition on its own, and is nearly always enabled as the majority of the lands that the deck run have different names. I think that Urza Saga is a worthy inclusion, as it can make tokens and also find one of our key artifacts, Zuran Skull Clamp, or Expedition Map. The rest of the land base can be assembled according to one's preferences or budget limits, but usually the best lands include the 3 Shock lands, Temple Garden, Stomping Grounds, and Sacred Foundry, along with Jetmir's Garden. They are followed up by the 3 filter lands, Firelit Ticket, Wooden Bastion, and Rugged Prairie, and the 3 soul lands for Ministrat, Overgrown Farmland, Rockfall Vale, and Sundown Pass. The 3 fetch lands Arid Mesa, Windswept Heath, and Wooded Foothills, and the 3 Ravnica bounce lands Boros Garrison, Gru Turf, and Celestia Sanctuary are also nice inclusions here and supplement the Landfall theme. And that concludes my take on Hazezon Shaper of Sands. Would you go in a different direction? Which cards would you choose to add? Write me up in the comments below. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Cheers.